Hey guys, so I want to call this part 2 in getting a custom gravel bike. Whether you buy a custom frame and get it custom all the way, or just do a custom build, why I think you should consider that, at least a custom build, to have a gravel bike that's more suited for your specific needs. And that's what I did, and I'm going to show you what I did with my gravel bike. And this one's pretty unique for the fact that it's kind of a blend of almost like an all-day mountain bike, but a gravel bike. So let me show you what I did with this one and give you an idea of what I'm talking about. So you've seen those wheels. I talked about those wheels before. Those are actually mountain rims. They are DT Swiss XM 481, which are an I-30 width rim, and I have them laced up with the bird spokes and laced to that super nice Onyx hub. And really, I'm very happy, and the reason I did is because Onyx had an arrangement with Bird to do a hook loop flange hub, and so that's hook looped on there, as opposed to the other hubs that that Bird has to use. They have to put it in a different way where it works, but it's meant to be, their spokes are meant to be hook looped. So here's the one that's the most unique. So as you guys probably have known and have been doing, maybe coming from where I came from a mountain biker that used to have a 2x mountain bike. I think my original mountain bike might have been a 3x. So we used to have a granny gear, and that would be like a 28, maybe even a 24. I think my friend even got his down to a 22. But you'd have a 2x, like a 2x8, I think it was, or 2x9, and I think it even went up to 2x10 for a few years. But you would be able to do a 2x, so it gave you a huge range for your mountain bike. And you had a granny gear for going up steep hills, and then you had a bigger gear for flats. Now it didn't have a big 48 like that does, but it had probably like a 42 and a 28 or 24 was very common. Some of them even did like a 38. So I decided to get this crank for a couple reasons. As you guys know, the whole thing about shorter crank arm length. So I wanted to get shorter crank arm length, and I got 170. I couldn't stomach going much smaller than that. Even with my small 28.5-inch inseam, I felt like I didn't really want to go down to 60 or 55. I thought that was, I just didn't think that was necessary. So I'm fine with that. And part of the reason I got the new bike was I didn't want toe over. This one does have a little bit of toe over, and but smaller cranks would give you less toe over. But some of that wouldn't have been accommodated unless I went really stupid small on the cranks. And then I have the regular, this is my regular gear cassette. That's an Ultegra cassette. So it only goes up to a 34. So that's hence the need for the smaller chain ring and to get down to a smaller gear in the back. And I'm actually going to put an XT cassette on there. I'll just have to make some adjustments. And I'm thinking of buying a combination that's a 42 and a 22 for the front. And so what's nice about White Industry is they're modular, so I could do any combo, and they're actually modular to the spindle too. I could use this crank set on a mountain bike frame and just get a longer spindle. So I really like White Industry, great company, and I buy direct from them. I like working with them. They're just really nice. You can go through your local bike shop, but if you've been around as long as White Industry, they know how to take care of their people. So that was one of the reasons I built this bike up, to be an all-dayer out in the woods. I wouldn't necessarily be doing any technical. I mean, as you can see, this is not that technical. It's pretty tame, and it's a lot of this pine covered trail that these tires are fine. I'm not going through chunks. I'm not doing single track. I'm just cruising along all day, enjoying like being out on a long hike. And so that's why I specifically built this gravel bike up, was for long days on the trails where I knew I wasn't going to be trying to pop off stuff and trying to clean a drop or anything like that. I was just going to be riding all day, being outdoors, just like a long hike. And that's how I purposely built this up. Another thing too is, you know, everybody has a personalized saddle that they like, or a personalized handlebar that they may like. So get a gravel bike and then personalize it and find out what you need. Personally, I would not use anything but SPDs, but some people like the Crank Brothers, or some people even like flats. I can't imagine riding a gravel bike with tennis shoes. That's just not me, but some people like that because they want to be able to ride and then walk around. I'm fine with walking around in my CDs, and I've stuck with CDs for many years. If you look back on my video, I have a video showing my different CD shoes. So the only thing I might change on this bike is I might change to another fork. When I first built this up, the fork didn't have mounts, and I think mounts to carry some extra water up here would be nice. And the other reason I got the new bike was I didn't like the exposed cabling. I wanted internal cabling, and I wanted that third water bottle mount down on below. This doesn't have that, and I could figure out a way to put a third water bottle, but now that I've got one on my other bike, I realize I'd rather just carry water up here. I think that would be a better place, and then just carry water on my pack. So that's how I have it built up. As you can see, 7 Custom did this to accommodate really big tires. I could easily do 700 by 50 if I want to do 700 by 50. I think even the fork. Another consideration I might think about is a suspension fork. Although I think 50 millimeters is kind of minuscule, but of course if you get a longer travel fork, it makes your front end dive down more too, so that's something to consider. So 50 millimeters is a little easier to adjust to when your head tube angle is already at 70 degrees. So that's where I'm at with this, and I just wanted to show you and talk to you guys about personalizing a gravel bike to your needs, and getting that gravel bike to do what you want to do. Now, I've had this gravel bike, I have the other Wheelset where I've accommodated it to long rides and doing centuries on the road, but that wasn't really my first intention. My first intention was to have it built up like I have it right now. And now that I have 2 gravel bikes, I don't think a 1x is the best thing to have for an all-day bike. I think a 2x is a better thing to have. So that's how I have it built. So I'll talk to you guys later.